Hi guys, this is Shayna from YarnTube, and we're on episode 3 of the YarnTube podcast. So today's episode is going to be a little bit less focused on what I'm working on and everything that way, what I'm hoping to work on, which may or may not happen. And it'll be a little bit more focused on some recent acquisitions and what I'm wearing, which is a pattern that I released last month, October 10th. And so we'll kind of talk about this one a little bit, and I've got a few non-knitting things that I thought would be kind of fun to share with you guys that I've kind of started getting into, and they're kind of my side craft hobby things, and I don't know, I thought that you guys might enjoy it. So without further ado, I have a lot of things again. So first off, what I'm wearing is, this is my Brain Space shawl pattern, and it's done with Alive with Purpose yarns. I'll try and knock that down just a little bit so you can see, and you can see some of the yarns that I've got waiting in the wings. Again, my somewhat co-host over here. So, and now you can see the tassels. So this is the Brain Space shawl, 3 tassels. It's a triangular shawl, and I partnered with, I'll hold it up so you can see. So it's done in collaboration with Alive with Purpose yarns, and we released it on World Mental Health Day, which was October 10th. And the whole idea was to help raise funds for some mental health services in Minnesota. I'm in South Dakota, so that caused a little bit of confusion. I had some people that were like, why are you donating to Minnesota when you're in South Dakota? And part of that, I'm actually very close to the Minnesota border, and a lot of the events that I go to are in Minneapolis because it's like a 4-hour drive. And so that's like, I kind of feel like that's my secondary home base, I guess, for fiber events and stuff like that, because there's not a ton that happens around here. And so I feel very close to Minnesotans. And then in conjunction with that, Alive with Purpose is based in Minnesota, and they actually always donate a portion of their proceeds to mental health services in Minnesota. And I really like being able to contribute a portion of my pattern sales and stuff like that to a good cause. So I try to do a different organization every month or so. I do 20% of my pattern sales. And that's just 20% across the board goes to a different organization. And when I do that, I like to make sure that the organizations that I'm donating to are actual organizations that are going to use the funds for what they say they're going to use them for. Because I don't know if it's that I'm a little untrusting or what, but after spending a lot of time in retail and kind of seeing large companies at work, I tend to be very cautious about who I give my money to, because I want it to be going to a good cause. I don't want it to just be, funding a bunch of people's other stuff, And so that being said, it was really nice because when I found out that Alive with Purpose does that on a regular basis, where they work with mental health services in Minnesota, when we started talking about a collaboration, I wanted to just kind of go with the same organizations that they work with. So they actually have all of the information about those organizations up on their site, which I'll link to in the show notes and everything. And part of it kind of seems and feels lazy to me to just kind of piggyback off of what they're doing, but it's also, they work with those organizations regularly. They've seen the difference that even, like a $50 donation can contribute. and what an impact that makes. And so I'd rather have the funds that we raised with the pattern sales and the yarn sales and everything going to an organization where you can see a difference happen. And so that being said, with this pattern, what we did for the whole month of October, 50% of the proceeds were going to the mental health services in Minnesota that Alive with Purpose works with. And she's actually put together a bunch of kits in these exact same colorways, because one of the colorways that I chose, Marietta, which is this one right here with all these bright colors, that one was actually supposed to just kind of be a little one-off thing. And I just loved it so much. As soon as she posted on Instagram, I immediately went onto her site and was looking through, and I love all of her colors. They're all super vibrant and bright and pretty. And the secondary one here is called Champs-Élysées, which I'm probably butchering the French, but when you hold the two skeins together, they don't necessarily look like ones that you would say, yeah, I want those. Those will look great together in a project, but they both just made me so happy. And when I was kind of coming up with the idea for this one, I wanted it to be kind of a fun, kind of crazy shawl that didn't have too terribly many things going on, so it would be just kind of a chill, relaxed knit, but also that had some sort of texture thing happening, so that it kind of played off of the crazy wild colors that were going on. And so I'll hold this up here. I've got my little assistant off to the side here asking for candy. So since Halloween was just passed, it's being very tempting having that candy right there. But he's being very good, so he gets some candy. But back to the shawl. So Champs-Élysées does kind of the background color almost. I kind of used it like as a neutral for the stockinette sections. And then Marietta does all the crazy stuff, which, I mean, it's really not that crazy. This is yarn overs, and I think knit two togethers and slip knits, depending on where you're at in the pattern. So it's nothing too terribly complex. This part here gets a little fun and tricky, but it's really not that bad. They're elongated cables. So really all that is it's a cable, but as you're setting up to make it, you wrap the yarn extra times around the needle, and then when you go to actually work the cable, which the cables are actually worked on the wrong side of the pattern, you drop the extra wraps off, and so it makes that elongated stitch in there, and it's kind of a fun technique that I don't know, it kind of, to me, especially in these colorways, kind of made it look like a little scribble. And one of the things for me, I personally have struggled off and on over the years with depression and anxiety and a lot of different things that way. And so it's really important to me, and I've been able to find help in ways to kind of work through some of the stuff that I struggle with personally. And a lot of that for me involves taking the time to just sit and experience the feelings that I have going on, because for me a lot of times what causes the most stress is I feel like I just get all these thoughts going through my head constantly, and I can't shut them off, and so then I can't sleep, and then it just kind of becomes this vicious cycle. And so for me personally, one of the things that really helps is this kind of process where you sit down with a piece of paper, and whatever is going on in your mind, you just write it all out. Like, it doesn't matter if it makes sense, you just write and write and write until you have like no words left. And every thought that has been bouncing around in there is out on the piece of paper, and then you just throw it away. Some people I know that do this save it to reflect on later, but sometimes, especially like when I was really, really struggling with depression and stuff like that, it would have been a lot worse for me to keep that stuff for me to go back to, because then you kind of go back and rethink and reanalyze stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, you know. And so it was way better because you have the chance to acknowledge that some of those thoughts and things are there, but then you also get to be the one to decide which ones you're going to continue focusing on and using and which ones you're just going to get rid of. And you know, you acknowledge they were there and that's fine, but now they're gone and that's not what you need to dwell on. And so for me, the elongated cables were kind of a good representation of that, because as you're knitting the elongated cables, when you're doing the setup and putting all those extra wraps on, all your stitches are super scrunched on the needle. So by the time you get to the end of the row, you're like, this is like a disaster feeling project because it's just all scrunched on there. And it's kind of like how my brain feels sometimes when I have too many thoughts going on that I can't stop them. And then when you actually work the cables and you get to drop those stitches off, it actually is like this really like freeing, fun experience dropping those extra wraps off. And then you get this cool looking cable in the end with the pieces that you want to use. And so it's kind of akin to my journaling thing where my thoughts are all kind of congested in my head, and then I do the writing thing and I get rid of the stuff that doesn't pertain or doesn't help me with what I'm trying to do, and I move forward with the stuff that I want to do and that I like to experience. And so that was kind of my personal connection with the patterning in this shawl. And yeah, it just, sometimes I get nervous about sharing the impetus and like the connection that I have with some of my patterns. Some of them are just for fun and just because I felt like doing something, but sometimes like with this one, it was very meaningful to me to make some of those personal connections because it has been, the mental health thing has been something that I've struggled with over the years. And it means a lot to me that we're able to help others find some solutions and move forward in their own mental health journey. And so if you bought the pattern already, I really appreciate it and thank you. Total for the month of October, we raised $111.31 that is going to be donated to those services just from the pattern sales. And I know Alive with Purpose still has kits for the pattern or for the project. If you missed the opportunity to buy the pattern when the donation fundraising portion of it was going on in October, you're definitely welcome to just contribute a donation yourself. Or if you want, you can buy either the kit or yarn from Alive with Purpose. And again, a portion of those proceeds go towards the same mental health services in Minnesota. And then if you do that, or like if you want a portion of your purchase of this pattern to go towards mental health services, let me know. Just send me an email or something after you buy the pattern, and I'll still kick in the donation. I just won't be tracking it for all the pattern sales going forward because that's kind of a lot of extra work to track everything. And math isn't my strongest point anyways, so when I have to sit down and do all the tracking stuff, it's easier for me to just kind of have a deadline and cut it. But like I said, that being said, if you're watching this later on, I know the fundraising month is over for the moment, but definitely hit me up if you want a portion to go towards it because I'm happy to do that. But yeah, so that's the Brain Space shawl with Alive with Purpose yarns, and I love it and it's really fun. And I've got tutorials that I filmed that will be going up over the next 3 weeks. I believe every Friday I have them going up. It's either Thursday or Friday. I'm pretty certain it's Fridays that the tutorials will be going up from now on. So I've got one tutorial where it's showing you how to mark the center stitch really super easily as you go, because I had a couple testers that were like, this is kind of confusing, and so we came up with an easy way to mark where your center stitch is so you don't even have to think as you're going through the pattern. I also included a tutorial for doing the elongated cables, so that's nice and easy, and then I'll also have a video tutorial going up of how I weave in ends on stripey projects as I go, because I hate finishing. And honestly, I would never do striped projects if I didn't have this technique, because I just hate it. And so like, until I found this technique, I did not actually, like, I avoided striped projects. And so, Cairo, you gotta go, that's really loud. Cairo has his switch off to the side and is slowly walking closer and closer with Fortnite music playing. So if you hear that in the background, sorry about that. But yeah, so that is what I'm wearing this week, and thank you again to everybody who helped with the either sharing the pattern or fundraising or anything that way. Oh, and I almost forgot, one of my test knitters, she is so super sweet. I'll link to her Etsy shop in the show notes, but she finished her shawl project and she's actually selling it in her Etsy shop right now, and all the funds are going to mental health services in her area, which I thought that was really, really cool. And so definitely check that out if you're interested, if it hasn't sold already, which it's really pretty. It's shades of blues and greens. It'd be a really good Christmas gift for somebody. And you know, that's one more project that you don't have to knit if you're a big gift knitter. Or, you know, just pick it up for yourself if you're a blue-green person. They're really pretty yarns that she used. And she's a very good knitter, so whoop, almost knocked you over. Sorry. Okay, so moving on. Last episode, I showed you guys my West Knits project that was in the queue, and I have not even started it. The final clue came out and I missed casting on it all during when it was going on, but I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen going into it, so it's okay, because I've got some other design projects that I need to knock out, and my hand and wrist started hurting this last week or so, so I've been going a little bit slower with the knitting, which is unfortunate, but I would rather cool my jets a little bit than continue on and possibly cause, you know, damage where I would have to stop knitting for a long period of time. So instead I've been doing more of the writing aspect with pattern stuff, and which is not always the most fun part, but sometimes it's okay. No, it's part of the process, and kind of once I get in a groove with it, like, it's hard for me to stop. It's kind of like any other thing, like, you kind of start, I don't know, as soon as you take the first few steps, you're just kind of like, okay, and then you just kind of keep rolling with it. And at this point I do have kind of a system for how I put together my patterns and everything like that, so that kind of helps a bit, because, you know, even if you're not really feeling it, you at least know what the next step is, so you can just kind of start in on it, and then, you know, like I said, eventually it just kind of clicks, and you're like, okay, here we go. But I did work on my Toad Hollow Halloween countdown shawl. I was gonna try to have it done for Halloween so I could wear it, but that didn't happen, because, like I said, I was trying to be good to my hands. And so what I ended up doing, I ended up opening the rest. I fell behind in posting the pictures too, so I ended up opening the rest of the Halloween mini skeins pretty much all on Halloween and took pictures and posted them, and it's a really fun, pretty set. I'm really excited to finish off the shawl, but I'll show you where I'm at so far in the project. Oh, and in case you didn't see it, that's the project bag I got with it, which is super cute and I love it. But I am, here we go. So it's a boomerang style shawl, which means you can just, oops, sorry, I'm jiggling you guys, sorry about that. It means you can just knit until you run out of yarn. And it's really nice for minis because of that aspect. You can either knit the whole 20-gram mini like I'm doing, or you can knit until you're done for the day. Or you can just take a single skein of yarn and go to town with it. But I'll do a little bit closer view, and I'm gonna flip it over here so it's not upside down. Do a little bit closer view, and that won't flip when it's blocked, but kind of got a florally lace going on in the middle, and then cables, and kind of tried to make a trellis in the background there. And then the rest is all just garter stitch, so it's nice and stretchy, and you've got about, it's a little bit less than 60 stitches of patterning, and then the rest is all just garter stitch, so you can just chill and enjoy it and have fun. So I was gonna try and do a mystery knit along pattern for this year, but I don't think that I'm going to have enough time to do all the elements that I wanted to include with that. So I'm going to tuck that idea away for right now. And it might be a next year thing, or it might be later, like before spring thing. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see kind of how the timing of everything goes, because I've got a couple other things in the pipeline that in my mind I have a time frame for, but in actuality there's not a set schedule that I've stated to anyone. So we'll see kind of how the releases go for some of that other stuff before I add in another mystery knit along. But that being said, this one would be a really fun one to use holiday mini skeins for if you've got a advent calendar coming up or something like that. I know some of my friends, and maybe myself, have ordered multiple holiday advent kits. And so a bunch of us are kind of talking about, if we get one in time, doing November, like opening up one of our advent kits in the month of November as a countdown to December. And then doing our advent kits in December. And then I also got a 12-day advent kit, which I was thinking I might do like from Christmas through New Year's for the I can't remember what it's called now, but you know, the 12 days of Christmas right in there. I can't remember what it's actually called right now, but I thought that would be kind of fun. So I'm excited for that. And not all of my advent kits are fingering weight, and I'm not doing my own patterns for all of them. One of them that I'm getting is Toad Hollow again, and I just got the shipping notice for that, so that is super exciting. I may do that one as my November one. We'll see, because I kind of wanted, maybe I'll open them and take pictures, and we'll wait to post the pictures till December so I'm not spoiling it for anybody. Because that's, I felt bad about my October one, because I was doing it every other day initially, so I was opening them early. In the first couple posts I did of the shawl stuff, I was like, oh no, what if people aren't doing this? What if, you know, I didn't want to ruin it for people. So, yeah, so maybe that's what I'll do with the Christmas one. Maybe I'll do like opening it in November, posting a spoiler in my stories or something, and then having the actual post go up in December so that it's not ruined for people. But I got the Toad Hollow one, which is 24 mini skeins in fingering weight, kind of like this one where it's mixed bases. Some will be tweed, some will be, you know, they're regular fingering, some will be two 10-gram minis hooked together. It'll be kind of fun. I'm excited about that. And then and then with that one, I also got a project bag. And then on Christmas, I get a full skein of yarn. So that'll be fun for Christmas cast on socks. Because I've never actually cast on Christmas socks on Christmas before, but every time people mention, I'm like, oh, that's so much fun sounding. I don't know. I'm easily swayed. So that'll be fun. And then I also snagged one of the very last Lavender Loon Advent kits, which hers are DK weight. And from the inspiration pictures she did, it's all like blues and golds, and I love her color sense anyways. Sam, I know Sam personally, and she's such a sweetheart. And so I'm so excited to get hers. She's one of my favorite dyers too. So I'm super excited for that. And I believe the pattern that's coming with that one is from Handmade Closet, I think, on Instagram. I can't remember her actual name, unfortunately, but she has gorgeous patterns. And so I'm kind of excited to have one of the Advents be stuff that isn't my design. So I can just kind of sit back and chill with it. And the fact that it's DK weight should knit up pretty quickly, which will be nice. And then, and the Toad Hollow one is Hallmark movie themed. So like each colorway is going to be something that happens in like every single Hallmark holiday movie, which personally I don't really sit and watch a ton of them, but when I catch bits and pieces of them, I will watch them. With two guys in the house, there's not a whole lot of opportunity to watch an entire like girly movie. And I have to be in the right mood for them, but the holidays is one of those times of years where I'm like, yeah, I will happily sit and knit on something while watching something super cheesy on TV, because it feels appropriate. But yeah, and then my third one is Les Garçons. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly either, but I was so excited I got one of theirs. And again, it's coming with a pattern and some little goodies. So like they have super cute pins, and I'm really hoping I get one of the pins. And and I can't remember the name of the dyer that they partnered with, but when I looked at the dyer's website, like, again, it's very different color sense from the other two kits, but it's it seemed like there was a lot of that kind of pale pink and cream and gray, and I don't know, it's kind of felt like one of those color schemes where it feels very classy, but also like very everyday, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, it seemed like a really fun kit. And so I have lineups for those things as they start rolling in. Are you guys doing Advent kits? I don't know. And if you're not celebrating Christmas, I know you probably don't call it an Advent kit, but it's still fun doing the countdowns. I know I've seen a few like countdown to the end of 2020 kits too, which look kind of fun, but I don't know. I figured I had enough kits coming. I didn't need to also count down to the end of 2020 with a full another December countdown kit. But I'm excited to see what everybody else comes up with. And then I think it was Mothy and the Squid that has January countdown for the whole month of January, because it's I think the impetus was basically like, it's cold, the winter's done, or the winter holidays are done. It's kind of like that time of year where you just need something to cheer you up a little bit because all the excitement's over. And so she's got some cute little packages put together for that. And so yeah, lots of fun. But I've been talking a lot about things that I'm not actually showing you. So I've got some yarn over here that I figured I would show you guys, since last time I didn't give myself enough time to actually show you very many things. So I'm gonna start off with more holiday time kind of things. I'm super, super excited. So my friend Beth, MD Quilter, is doing a Gilmore Girls knit along with Covert Knits. And I actually didn't watch the Gilmore Girls when it was airing for real. I started watching it a couple years ago on Netflix, and still have not actually finished it because kind of the final seasons of it feel really heavy to me at some points, and I don't know, I have to be in the right mood for those episodes, so I'm slowly plugging away at them. But I was really excited about this Gilmore Girls knit along because, and I feel like I view Lorelai and Rory and everybody slightly different from how the rest of the world seems to view everyone, because a lot of times when I hear people talk about the different characters and character traits and stuff like that, a lot of times people mention that Lorelai is being selfish, or, you know, in different aspects or things like that. And while I can see that, I personally like really connected with Lorelai. Like, I kind of feel like, I don't know, she's my favorite character. She does do things at times where you're just like, and, you know, I don't agree with everything that her character does. But I also feel like a lot of times the stuff that comes off as being selfish for her, from how I view it, it kind of almost seems more like that's how she's protecting herself. Like, she puts up this really strong front, and like, she's got it and she's gonna do it, she can do anything, and but she has these different barriers that she kind of creates that kind of help keep that going, if that makes sense. I don't know, and I may be reading way too into a TV show, but I always kind of like hearing how people take the different characters and like which one's their favorites and everything like that. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about the Gilmore Girls and characters and who your favorite is and everything that way. But all of that aside, I do really love the show. And so Beth and MD Quilter and Covert Knits, which I believe they both have YouTubes. I know Beth does for sure, and I'll try and link them in the show notes, but they're doing a Gilmore along, and basically if you can make whatever you're working on connected to Gilmore Girls somehow, like even just, you know, I made this thing and it's the same color as the pot in, or the jar in Luke's Diner. You know, something like that where you kind of come up with something. I know a lot of people are doing like coffee talk socks and different things like that. It counts as part of the knit along, and so I'm really excited because one of the dyers that they're working with is Area 51, and they're in Canada, and they did some Gilmore Girls themed colorways that are self-striping. So I got mine in the mail. I thought for sure it was going to take forever because Canada stuff takes forever to get to me for some reason. But this one is, I can't remember the name, Autumn Festival. But look at how pretty that is. I love that it's autumnal, but also not like traditional autumn colors. Like, it just makes me super happy, and I'm really looking forward to casting those on, because those will be socks. Yeah. I'd probably just vanilla socks too, I don't know. I just really like that colorway and thought it was so pretty. And then I got, speaking of I don't need any more holiday yarn, I got self-striping Christmas with the Gilmores, and it's 24 stripes, I think, 24, 25 stripes. So you can actually do like one stripe a day as you count down to Christmas. Whether or not I'll do that is yet to be seen. But I just thought those were so pretty. And part of me, like, I really want leg warmers. Because I've got a pair of leather high tops that I wear for most of the winter. And I love wearing my knitted socks in them, but I really, really love wearing my knitted socks that have like extra room in the legs so I can scrunch them down 80s style. And so I really want to get some actual leg warmers because it gets really cold here in January and February. And so I think I'm gonna start doing some leg warmers on a regular basis. So maybe these will be leg warmers, maybe this will be socks, I don't know. Same goes for this. I think these ones need to be socks though. And these ones can be leg warmers maybe. We'll see. I also have a mini skein set that is the Mothwing Chronicles, which was all of Lavender Loon's fall colors for this year, and they're so pretty. But I got the whole mini skein set, and I really, really want to, and they're 20 gram minis, and there's 8 of them. And I really want to knit those into leg warmers, and I have a pattern kind of picked out, like a stitch pattern that does like a moth design. And so that's one of the projects that's like percolating that I can't wait to get to, but I need to finish other things first. So that's my Area 51 purchase for the Gilmore Girls knit along, and I'm so excited about it. It's gonna be fun. And then, you remember in the last episode I talked about my socks ebook that I have coming up and that I'm working on? That's some of the pattern writing that I've been doing is in that, and I still have not sent it to my tech editor, which I need to. She's probably wondering where I am. I had some migraines earlier in the month, and so most of the writing is just in notebooks. So I need to translate a lot of it to actual typed things. But that being said, I think last time I showed you the February yarn from MJ. So if you haven't watched last episode, I'm doing a socks ebook for next year where each month is a different featured yarn and a different pattern that comes out. And it's the indie sock along is the idea, because I want to do something each month with the dyers, kind of to create more of the indie dyer designer connection thing, and to kind of give them a chance, because a lot of times when you see a pattern design, you see that one color from the dyer, and that color might be like your jam and you want it and that's it. But it's also really fun to just go and like pick your own colors. And so I don't know, kind of the idea is like I've got a pattern for it, so if you want to knit the socks, and then we'll do an event thing with the dyer online so you can actually see all of their colorways and kind of hear from them a little bit about their process and where they're at and different things that way. And I don't know, I thought it would just be kind of a fun year-long project. And so that is the February yarn from MJ. And it's MJ Yarns, sorry. And that's their Tough Ram base. And I just love it. It's this is the amethyst colorway, which is kind of fun for, you know, February. The birthstone is amethyst, and that's actually when my birthday is, so we thought it would be kind of a good matchup. And then believe we decided on July for this one. I got a new yarn in from Lily over at Merino y Vino, and she dyed it up special for us. Look at how pretty that is. It's on a sparkle base, and it's just this really pretty tealy blue color, and I just love it. It's really soft. Like, she did a good job with her sparkle base, because I don't know if you guys know this, but when dyers work with a sparkle base, it's really easy to actually burn the sparkle out of the yarn if they use the wrong setting stuff when they're trying to set the dye. And it's also it's easy for a lot of things to go wrong with the sparkle bases, so I'm always really impressed when a dyer has a very sparkly yarn that is also really nicely dyed. And so there's our first two. Some nice jewel tones going on. And Merino y Vino is out of Arizona, and MJ is now out of Washington. He used to be in Colorado, and that's actually where I met him. And I met Lily on Instagram, and we've kind of been following each other for a while, and so that's really fun. So exciting progress there. And I'm gonna set those down. I got a very special shipment of yarn in a while back, and I wanted to show it to you because I'm so excited. So back in June, we did the Stockinette Zombies hosted ZK, which Zombie Knitpocalypse, at home for 2020, since we couldn't all get together. Because normally there's a yearly retreat that a bunch of us attend, and it's open to 200 people, I believe, and you have to sign up and everything that way. So they switched it to online this year, and it was really amazing. And Adela from Lola Bean Yarn Company was the keynote speaker, and she did a special themed colorway for us, because each year at the retreat there's a different theme, and so 2020 was mythical creatures because crafting is magic, and which is really cute. And we always have two teams, so like there was a unicorn team and a dragon team. And so all the dyers that attend the marketplace, if they wanted to make something special for the event, a lot of them did like different mythical creature themed yarn colorways for the event. So there was, you know, some zombie themed ones. There was, you know, just a bunch of different fun things that way. And Lola Bean, Adela, did a colorway called Trolla. And then she had a cute little story about how Lola is kind of a troll sometimes when she's cranky, which I may have a little one who also is sometimes cranky. So it was kind of fun. But so we placed our orders, and Adela is like always super crazy busy with orders. And so we had a little bit of a wait time on ours. And so I got my order, I think in end of September, early October, but I'm so excited. Look at how pretty that is. So I got 2 skeins in each base, and so there's mohair, fingering weight, and DK. And initially I ordered the fingering weight and the mohair because I was gonna hold them together and do a love note. And now I don't know. Because a bunch of us who got this also got yarn babies from CC's Wool, which I'm gonna hold up for you. These are yarn babies. And I'm holding them upside down. Aren't they massive? So in one yarn baby, these are fingering weight, by the way, there is 1,120 yards, and each yarn baby is $44. So that is an insane amount of yarn for 44 bucks. So I don't know if you guys have seen the Tiny Dancer pattern. I'll link it in the show notes. But one of our friends ordered Trolla with the intent of using it together and making a Tiny Dancer sweater. And so now I really want to also make a Tiny Dancer sweater because a whole bunch of us from ZK are wanting to use our Trolla and our Purple Magic yarn babies to make Tiny Dancer. And I don't know, and it'd be really fun to just all get to take a picture together next year if we can all be in person for ZK 2021. And I don't know, it's one of those things that I think we're all kind of doing because we're hopeful that next year's gonna be better. And even if we can't all be in person together, we can at least all be working on the same project together. And it was really fun all buying the yarn together, and I don't know, it was just a really fun experience, and so I'm excited about doing that. So I may find something else to do my love note out of, and that might be the plan for my fingering weight Trolla. And then, oh, I'm unraveling. Oh no. Then with Rhinebeck not being held, Cece's Wool also vends at Rhinebeck. And so they did a special Rhinebeck We Miss You colorway that they teased out like 2 months ago or something like that. And I have been watching for it to go on sale because I wanted it. Look at how pretty that is. So my plans for this are, there's a Oliver Colorwork sweater that came out called Nightbook, and it looks amazing. I don't know if I'm quite skilled enough to knock it all out very quickly because my colorwork skills are not super great, because I've kind of been avoiding it. But I do want to get better at it, and so I think that's kind of my plan for this is I'm gonna do this with basically like a cream color, I think. I'm not positive on that yet. I was debating between cream or maybe like a navy, but I feel like with all the oranges, cream seems like the better route to go. Initially, looking at the pictures online, it's dyed up on a bunch of different bases, so it was hard to tell like if my skeins would be more orange leaning or more red leaning, and if they were going to be more red leaning, I was kind of planning on doing like navy or super dark gray, just because I didn't want it to look super Christmassy. But since there's so much orange in these skeins, I think I am going to do the cream color, like just kind of an undyed wool for Nightbook, because that way I'll have some nice contrast, and I don't know, I think it'll be really pretty. I'm really excited about it, but I'm not casting that on until 2021 at least, because I think that's going to be kind of like my year-long project for 2021. And so, yeah. So I've got all that beautiful yarn stuff that I've been working on. Not working on, but basically just bringing into my house. And then, I don't know if you guys are interested or not, I've been doing some more cross-stitch projects. So if you're not interested, that's fine. I'll say goodbye to you now, and I'll see you next time. But if you are interested, I've got just a couple little cross-stitch projects that I thought I would show. So I started this one last spring, and it's Devil's Tower, which I actually got this as a kit about 10-ish years ago, before we moved to Arizona and then moved back and had a kid. So I've had the kit for a long time and didn't actually crack it open until this past spring. And I don't know, it's just been really fun. This is definitely, like, I used to do those tiny little cross-stitch projects when I was in middle school and high school. But this was like definitely the biggest cross-stitch thing I've ever attempted. and it's been kind of fun. I don't know if any of you follow cross-stitch YouTubers, but they put up floss tubes, and which is kind of where I got the idea for YarnTube, because I don't know, a bunch of different cross stitchers are putting up floss tubes, so I thought it'd be kind of cute to do a yarn tube for knitting and fibery things. But I've been watching a bunch of different floss tubes about different techniques and stuff like that for cross stitch, because when you're just doing the little tiny thing, it's not that much to just do a few stitches here, a few stitches there, and then you're done in like 2 hours. Not really, but you know. Whereas like with this one, there's, you know, a bunch of different colors, all sorts of stuff. The yarn didn't come pre-wound on bobbins like I was used to, so I had to figure out how you're supposed to get it from the little hanks of thread in onto the bobbins, and how you're supposed to track it, and like there's so many color numbers and they're all labeled as numbers. And so I don't know, it was kind of a fun learning experience, really getting into a new craft. Well, kind of new craft. I mean, I knew the basics, but I didn't know a lot of the intricacies for doing larger projects. And so it's been really fun and exciting to do some of that. And I'm almost done with this half of it. I finished off the sand color here just the other night, and now there's a little bit darker brown that'll come in through here. I think it's darker brown. It's darker brown or gray. And then there's a couple little tree parts, the stems, the bases of the trees, that I have to fill in, and it's just like 2 or 3 stitches here and there. I don't know if you can see that, but so like right there. I put some of them in, like that guy, but then as I kept going with different things, I just got more comfortable with skipping over them, and that's gonna be like the last thing that I add in, I think, is all of that. But yeah, so about halfway done, kind of excited to get going on the other half and finish this guy up. It probably will not happen for a while. Like, I'm gonna keep working at it a little bit here and there, but it's definitely not like something that I'm gonna try and get done like by next episode. It'll be more of a long-term project. I'll be happy if I get it done by the end of this year. You know, kind of fun, cast it on and off in the same year. So, and then I got a really fun kit from Fat Quarter Shop. I've been watching their floss tubes and their quilting channel, and they've been doing these stitch-alongs, and I've watched them do a couple of the stitch-alongs, and their patterns are always really super cute. And so I jumped on really late, like I waited until the whole pattern was released before I bought this one. But it's also kind of one of those things where, since I do kind of have it just as a like side craft, I know I'm not gonna burn through everything like I do with some of my knitting projects. And so I don't want to get like a ton of projects going in cross stitch without finishing things. And so, but this is the start of my Halloween one. This will say Halloween across here, and then it'll have kind of this spooky looking mansion thing and a ghost, and there's a spider web and a creepy tree and a little pumpkin that actually looks exactly like a needle minder, or my needle minder here. And there's a full moon and a bat, and I don't know, it's a cute Halloween thing, and it was really fun to get like kind of a fancy fabric, because I don't know, it's kind of like the yarn, like you can have the basic stuff, and that's what this is, and I like it for this. This was a good like trial into it, like, am I going to really like this craft, or do I just think I'm going to like this craft? And since I had pretty much everything for that one, it was pretty easy entry to try it out. But yeah, and so it was kind of fun to get a fancier fabric. It's still, I went with a DMC floss, so it's really basic floss. There's hand-dyed floss. Like, and I think Forbidden Fiber Company, who does like really super gorgeous yarns, has started dyeing floss also. So if you are a cross stitcher, there's another little rabbit hole. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this one. I know Halloween's over, that's fine. I was just excited to get this because it's cute and fun, and I'm just gonna keep working on it, and hopefully it'll be all done for next Halloween. So, you know, no huge time crunch commitments there. Oh, and then I got a cute little project bag for it. So it's actually very similar. The Halloween that's written on the cross stitch is just like this, and the moon and the bat is just like this, and the spider web is just like this. So you kind of get an idea for what the pattern will be like. And I have a little ghost keychain zipper pull. So that was kind of a fun Halloween cast on project thing. There's something a little bit new and different, and so it's kind of exciting. And then I have one last thing to show you, and then we're kind of at our hour, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But I also have been doing these book boxes, which are kind of fun. And I got a Halloween one, which I really like themed things. Like, I just am a sucker for good marketing and themed items, especially holiday themed things. So this was a special edition book box that they did. Every month I get one of these, but it's normally larger, either a trade paperback or a hardcover book that's included. With this one, I knew it was going to be a mass market paperback, so it's one of those smaller, cheaper books. But the cool thing with this club, they put together little gifts that you get that tie into the book that you're reading, and it's marked on the different pages. So I'll open this up, and you can see. Try to not drop things. So it's kind of fun because you get a little quote card, and they're really cute. So like, I've been saving them because I want, once I get my craft room finished downstairs, I want to do like a whole wall of the quote cards, because they're kind of fun. Like, even if you don't keep the book after you're done reading it, because I'm a big fan of, like, once I'm done reading it, I usually either sell it or pass it on to somebody else, because very rarely do I go back and reread a book. And so I like the quote cards though, because then I can at least like be reminded of reading that book and the experience and everything. And so I thought it would be fun to do a whole wall of quote cards down there. So I've been saving those for that. And then this was the book that came with it. And this one, for the Halloween box, you could pick if you wanted a cozy mystery like this one, or like an actual scary, like haunted, whatever, horror book. And I didn't want that. I wanted a nice cozy mystery, because I just wanted something happy and fun and possibly poorly written. Which this one, I mean, it's a cozy mystery. There's cheesy parts. It's kind of like, these are like the Hallmark movie versions of books, I feel. Like, there's parts that you're expecting and characters that you're expecting to do different things, and like, you've read one, you kind of have read them all a little bit, but they're just kind of a fun little escape. And so I really like cozy mysteries, so I was excited about this one. I haven't opened any of the gifts yet because I did not start reading right away. I started reading on Halloween, and I'm on chapter 4. So what's cool though is they mark, so like they mark what pages to open the gifts on. And then in the book, it's also marked. So let me, they put little, there we go, little post-it notes in there letting you know, hey, you're at the spot where you get to open a present. Go for it. And normally they're kind of more spread throughout the book. This one, they are all kind of within like 100 pages of each other, which was kind of weird, but it's okay. I'm fine with it. It's still fun. And they're not like junky gifts. They're kind of fun, cute things that, I don't know, I like it. And, you know, even if it's not something that you're planning on keeping, they're not things that you would feel bad about regifting. So one of my past books, I actually, when I opened up one of the gifts, I immediately was like, oh, so-and-so would love this. And so I actually just tucked that aside, and that's gonna be part of their Christmas present. I don't know if that's weird to do, but I figure it's still like brand new, and if it's something that's going to make them more happy, then it would make me to keep it. Might as well give it to them, right? So yeah, so that was kind of fun. Oh, and the book title is called 15 Minutes of Flame, and it's about a little candle shop in Nantucket. And it is not the first book in the series. I thought it was going to be the first book in the series. It's like the third, I think. At least she's mentioned that she's found at least 2 other murders before this book happened. So, oh well, it's a cozy mystery, so you don't really actually need to read them in order, I feel. I don't know, they're just kind of fun. But that is about what I have for you guys for this week. I'm gonna try to be doing these every other week. So I won't post a YarnTube episode next Monday, but the Monday after I'll post an episode. But like I said, every Friday I'll be posting tutorials that correspond to the brain space shawl for the next few of them. But they're also techniques. A lot of times when I do my tutorials, I try to make them techniques that can be used for other projects. I just like to, like, as I'm writing the pattern, I notice different things where I'm like, oh, this would make a good tutorial. And so, yeah. So that is what we've got. I hope you guys have a great day and a great couple of weeks, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.